Okay, now I'm in that awkward point where you don't know if it's actually started streaming yet or not. But but we will see. Hello, anybody that's watching. Welcome to my regular monthly pop culture live stream where I pick a topic about something pop culture and talk about it once a month on the first Thursday of every month. This month we're going to be talking briefly about Eve of the Daleks, and maybe even a bit about the last episode of Flux, because actually the last live stream was just before the last episode. And then we're going to go on to a sort of 2022 pop culture preview, all of the things that myself and my guest and you guys in the chat are looking forward to pop culture wise over the next year. That's what we're going to be talking about today. And talking of my guest, I shall bring him in now. Hello, Adam Martin.
Hello, Phil Hawkins. Thank you for having me. And hello to everyone who's watching. Hello to everyone in the chat. I hope you're all doing well.
For those that don't know, Adam is a pop culture YouTuber. He has a channel, AMTV, which, well, actually, your channel is just Adam Martin, but it also has the brand AMTV as well, doesn't it?
Those funny ones. I stages where I'm like, do I change the name? Do I not? And I think I did a poll once, and most people wanted me to keep it as Adam Martin. But yes, it's unofficially known as AMTV as well.
Yeah, it talks about Doctor Who, a lot about now the now music collections as well, TV idents, all sorts of things like that. Have I missed anything
Lots
important?
Of goodness that like me and three other people enjoy. So.
Quite a lot of people enjoy it, especially the idents ones are particularly popular, I think.
That never fails to amaze me how the ident stuff I've done over the years has taken off the way it has, because like I say, it's something that you think, oh, not many people are interested, but then people say, oh, I love these too. But yeah, it's great. But I just make stuff on whatever I want to make, really. I try not to do that thing YouTube really wants us to do, where we just mainly talk about one thing and stick to it. And keep it as varied as possible. But Doctor Who's probably the most prominent one, at least over the last year.
It's pretty much the same here, where I've just got mainly Doctor Who, but I like to scatter in other things I'm interested in as well, because I don't just want to talk about Doctor Who all the time.
Yeah.
And of course, regular viewers to my channel will also know you from the podcast as well. Everybody's Dead Dave, my co-host on that Red Dwarf podcast. Where we're watching through every episode of Red Dwarf. It's also available on iTunes if you don't want to watch it on YouTube. There's no video of us like there is right now. It's literally just two cartoons drawn by Sophie Isles of us with a little squiggly line audio waveform.
So if you're from Everybody's Dead Dave, then here I am in the flesh. My hair is not spiky at the moment because I'm suffering from a certain thing that I'm not going to say for YouTube censor's sake, but I'll call it the Big C. So yes, unfortunately, I don't have the capacity to stick my hair up or feel particularly glamorous anyway.
It's like a trademark, isn't it? The hair sticking up.
It's been it's a blessing and a curse, because it's quite easily when it's a good idea, so that. But I like having it. So personal preference, isn't it?
Yeah. Let's have a look who's in the chat. We got Will Newlands says, "Hey up."
Hello.
Joseph Adam says, "Hi Philip. Have you heard Doctor Who the collection season 22 is next?" And he's asked his dad for it. Excellent.
Tom, has that been officially confirmed yet?
Has it? I don't know if it has. Or
well,
if
last
it's just
I
a rumor.
saw, I don't know if you saw. I think it's a Swiss website.
Oh, you're breaking up
Galaxy
a bit.
4. Oh.
Hello.
That's always good when it's me.
Yep, got you.
Still with me?
I got you back, I think.
Live viewers. If this keeps happening, I'm sure Phil will keep you entertained. So there was this Swiss website, I believe for Galaxy 4 and for season 17, had like listings of them up before they were officially announced.
Yeah.
And someone has gone on to that listing for season 20 or anything. Listing, and I think there's due for release in March 2022. So, that's quite exciting, but it's not, as far as I know, unless it's literally just happened. As far as I know, this is all still, speculation at the minute.
Yeah,
I
my
think.
Doctor Who magazine, I did arrive through the post today, but I haven't cracked it open yet, so I don't know if there's anything in there. But I'm
Mm,
pretty sure it would have all been over Twitter if it had been. So
yeah.
probably not. Where were we? Tom Mason is in the chat as well. Hey Tom. Drew with Cameron Smith. What do you
Oh,
think of the Doctor Who Advent calendar, Philip? Well, that's behind wrong side, that side. There we go, behind me
yeah.
there. And I've got K9, which I got as a little decoration. It's hanging on the tree there. I
Yeah.
specifically kept the tree up to today because despite taking down the Christmas decorations in the rest of our house and all the lights and everything everywhere else because I wanted it for this stream, we put it up just after my last stream and I
Hmm.
wanted at least one stream with the Christmas tree in the background to be all festive. So that's what that
Yeah.
is.
Well, so we'll let him off on this
Yeah,
one occasion. We'll
I
let him off.
technically I think it's meant to come down today due to the the 12 days of Christmas rule that it comes down on the
Yeah.
last day of the 12 days of Christmas. But it can come down tomorrow. It's fine. One extra day won't hurt, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Does
We'll let
anybody
it
else
slide. We'll
have
let it
their
slide.
Christmas decorations still up, or am I the only one? There is one other house on the street on my street that does still have lights on and outside, so I am definitely not the only one.
Hmm.
So that's good. Um, oh, who else is in the chat? Jay says, "Hey Phil, Doctor Who's Magical Entertainment says, hi Adam. When are you continuing the Doctor Who
Hello.
viewing figures?"
Oh, that's like the question of the past month I've had. Because when was I think the last one it was at the end of October, I think.
Mm,
I am hoping to start it up again in these first few months of 2022. I'd tried to I'm one of those people. I don't know if you're like this as well, Phil. I'm one of those people where I sometimes overwork myself needlessly, or I set, tasks for myself a bit. I don't allow myself time to rest, basically. But I tried to be pretty strict with the viewing figure series and said after season 26, I'd have a break till the new year. So I've started gathering together some early information and started typing, not much, because I'm not feeling 100%. But yeah, it's work's beginning again, and it'll be the wilderness years
I'm
first,
looking forward to
obviously.
that one, the Wilderness Years one. Looking forward to
It's
seeing.
hard though,
I'm
because
looking forward to seeing what you cover in it, especially.
well, it's hard really because obviously the title of the series is about the viewing figures, and I want that to be the core of it. But as I've gone along the seasons, I've also tried to make it more about, like what was going on at the time behind the scenes and my personal opinion on each story as well. But gathering viewing figures for some wilderness year stuff is actually quite difficult. There's not a lot of
Yeah,
information out there. So what I'm thinking I'm going to have to do is anything I can cover, I absolutely will. Like, the TV movie, of course, Dimensions in Time, which is canon,
of
and
course.
maybe some of the repeats as well. But, things like, well, I don't know, there was that Search Out Science thing with Sylvester
Yeah,
McCoy, things like that. Obviously, I'm aware they exist and I'll probably cover them, but the information just doesn't seem to be publicly available. So I might do some guesstimating or like predictions or stuff to fill in the gap. But yeah, so there might not be as many like actual viewing figures statistics in there, but
yep,
I'm still going to plow on anyway.
yeah, cool. Will Newlands says, Phil, I won't be able to give any super chats tonight as the Dark Eyes bundle and Charlie box set order have bankrupted me. That's fine. Look, super
uh,
chats are obviously always appreciated, but never expected. So, absolutely, I understand. As a fellow Big Finish listener, I know how that affects the wallet very much. So, I
mm,
think which ones are they? Yeah. I already own Dark Eyes. I have ordered the new Charlie box set. So
yes.
looking forward to reading those as well. I will try and keep up with the chat as best I can. I always try and read out as many messages as I can. Super chats are there if you do want to use them. It does sort of guarantee your message gets read, but I will try and read as many as I can anyway, regardless.
Mm.
Um, Talking of which, Jean-Luc Harry's here, who took
Hey,
his
Jean-Luc.
decorations down today. On time. Well done.
Hey.
I'm going to be a day late, but
On
never mind.
time, yes. Very good, very good.
Anyway, let's talk about first of all Doctor Who. Eve of
Mhm.
the Daleks was the most recent episode. We've both done reviews of it on our channel, so people will have probably got most of our views already. But what was your general overriding view of it? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I mean, I watched it with my girlfriend Rebecca and her family because I was at hers for New Year's, and they watched Doctor Who as well. I'd say you know, yeah, they watched Doctor Who as well, and we all had a great time. We were laughing a lot. You know, we just had a it was some. I think it was perfect for New Year's. You know, I found it really funny. It wasn't too like heavy, you know, in terms of the story. I like it when Doctor Who's a bit breezy sometimes. And I like the whole time loop concept. You know, I didn't think it was perfect. There were some moments I didn't like, and some moments that have been discussed on social media as well that, you know, are up for debate and stuff. But on the whole, I'd definitely say out of the Jodie era New Year specials, because this is the fourth one, isn't it? I'd definitely
Yeah.
say
Well,
this is my favorite, I think.
third special. I'm not sure if Spyfall really counts.
Oh, I suppose so, yeah. If we're discounting Spyfall, I mean, yeah, I think even if it was, I think Eve of the Daleks is certainly my favorite. I watched it again a few days later and had just as much fun. So yeah, really positive for me. Did I take it did you enjoy it as well?
I did enjoy it. I do also love a time loop Groundhog Day style story. I do like those. I wouldn't say it's, in terms of other Groundhog Day time loop stories, it's probably not up there with my favorites of this mini genre. Things like, there's like brilliant episode of Star Trek Discovery. I know you're not a Star Trek viewer, and Stargate has a great one too. And I think they work really well, as with the original Groundhog Day movie as well, when there's more comedy mixed in with them, I think. And there were bits of comedy here that did work, but it was much more serious than I'm used to with time loop stories, I think. So
Sure.
it's not up there with my favorite, but as a Doctor Who episode, it was still really good, and I did really enjoy it. I said this in my review. I think they did miss an opportunity to have a few regenerations in there and have a few extra like bogus 14th Doctors, almost like regenerate into some, like, so one loop regenerates into somebody, another loop regenerates into somebody else. That could have been really fun. It wouldn't have really advanced the story itself.
No.
So I get why they didn't, but
Yeah.
I think it could have been a lot of fun. You could have had the Curse of the Fatal Death Doctors in there.
Literally about to say that. That would have been a perfect opportunity to shoehorn, and now Dame Joanna Lumley as well, of course.
Yes. Yeah. So like, imagine that one loop round, she regenerates into Hugh Grant. Another loop, you don't have to do it too often. You don't have to go through all of them, but another loop, she regenerates into Joanna Lumley. It would also establish that who they're going to regenerate into next isn't set, and that depends on the circumstances of their death and things, which could have been quite fun.
Yeah, that could. What's your take on the whole? This might. Well, I'm not looking to start arguments here in the chat, so just bear with me, right? I'm sure you saw this as well. You know, one of the main talking points from this episode is the whole "can the Daleks aim properly?" And yes, you know, the whole plot armor discussion thing. In my personal opinion, I'm not really bothered about things like that. I'm not saying if you are, that more power to you. You have every right to, you know, criticize it and whatever. But it honestly didn't cross my mind, the whole, that, you know, 1 minute the Daleks really accurate, and then the next minute it's in a narrow corridor firing 50 shots and do you know what I mean? I didn't, my mind didn't sort of stop
to me
think,
that's kind of just a staple of sci-fi. That happens in everything, and so it doesn't bother me that much unless it's particularly egregious, potentially. Like if they fired and like they were literally stood in front of them and they fired and missed, like facing it, like that kind of thing, maybe. But and that they didn't even duck and they just missed, something like that.
Yeah.
Like I did feel like the only time I felt a little bit like that was when Dan was dancing around the Dalek to avoid getting shot, and I thought, oh, that stretches it a little bit. But that was the only time it even crossed my mind.
Yeah, me too, actually, now that you say it, because the only thing I thought of immediately is, you know, back in Dalek from 2005, they went to great lengths to have that shot, I think, you know, in the corridor where you've got Van Statten soldiers on either side of the Dalek, and it's shooting them one way, like where it's facing, and then only its midriff, you know, turned.
And we haven't seen that since. It's really annoying. No, it's such a good effect.
A weird... Yeah, it was a good effect. And yeah, like you say, that was probably the one moment for a fleeting second. I was like, hang on, can't the Dalek just flick its midriff round and, you know, shoot down off it? But like you say, it's such a sci-fi staple going back to, well, like very early sci-fi, I guess, and even now. So yeah, it is what it is, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Is there anybody in the chat talking about this? So do you think the Doctor and Yaz relationship is too late in the game, or do you think it's okay where it is? Because that's the other big thing that came from the episode was Thasmin.
Yes, yeah, which made a lot of people very happy.
Yeah.
I think I do think it maybe would have been nice to have either had this conversation that Yaz had or something similar maybe a bit before now. I do think though, when you go back and watch the Jodie era, there are little, very small moments where it's like building, I guess.
Mm.
And the thing that when she was having that conversation, it made me think of back in Revolution of the Daleks, 2021's New Year special, that whole they've been waiting 10 months for her. And it's implied that Yaz sort of never really left that spare TARDIS that she left for them or that got them home. And it just made, even back then, I thought, even though it's not explicitly said, that to me was, someone desperately trying to reconnect with the person they had, strong feelings for, if that makes sense. Because obviously Graham and Ryan cared as well, but they're the first to go like, we need to try and crack on with our lives as well, if you get me. So I'd argue it's been there in dribs and it's maybe just not been as on the nose as it was with, say, Rose or the whole thing with David Tennant and Martha. Do you know what I mean? It's more in the background this time.
Talking of the David Tennant between 13th Doctor and 10th Doctor from Titan Comics, and it has a line in it where the 13th Doctor notices how Martha is basically idolizing the 10th Doctor. Yeah. And she comments like, "Oh, how was I so blind?" And I'm reading this after seeing this latest episode, and I'm like, "Well, you're just as blind, love."
Yeah. I just see, and everyone's like, "Oh, the Doctor. Why is the 13th Doctor acting like this?" Blah blah blah. But because when Dan mentions it to her and she sort of just pars him off, but we do get a reaction shot, and obviously the scene at the end with the fireworks. The way I'm interpreting it, again, just personally, I'm not saying this is like the strict Bible or whatever, but as a viewer, the way I'm interpreting it is obviously the Doctor has had relationship feelings for the people they've traveled with before, and I just think it might be one of those things where the Doctors, they've never ended well, really, have they? Let's face it. So it's like, maybe it's like they don't want to maybe commit themselves or that companion down that path. That's how I'm reading. It's one of those reserved things, like how, how some nations act in a.
Oh, hello.
Oh, hello.
No, hello. You're back.
Yes. Sorry, live viewers. But yeah, no, just saying, like, it might be one of those things the Doctors do over various incarnations, where they act a certain way because they feel they're protecting someone when really it's not helping the overall situation.
Yeah, and we don't know yet if the Doctor reciprocates any feelings. Although I would say probably from the way in that hologram from Flux where she goes like, "Oh, I miss you." And then she goes, "Oh, I know you do."
And from her reaction from Dan in this one as well.
Yeah, so I think there's probably something there, but it's not confirmed on that end yet. So far, we've only had absolute confirmation that Yaz feels that way.
Is feeling that way.
So
I just think it was.
What happens next?
I think the line, like the script of it, was handled really well, in my personal opinion. I wrote about this on Twitter the other day. It's the two specific lines where she says, "I've never told anyone, not even myself," because I think that resonates with so many people, not just in terms of like figuring out your sexuality or who you're attracted to. That could apply to several facets of your life, that you might be in denial about something, or you might be ashamed of. So, do you know what I mean? It's all those things, like those two, like I've said those two.
Hello, 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 hello. Do we get back up? Do we get back up? Hello, people. Hello?
Hello, you with me? Yes.
Hello. Yes. I don't know if we're back on the stream.
What happened?
I don't know. I think my internet just completely died.
Oh.
Let's see.
It says you're still going live to me.
Are you on the stream as well?
Yeah, although it's starting to stutter, so it says live, but
let's it might be a bit of a delay.
So
my internet just completely conked out.
Again, hopefully, sorry, live. I think
it just completely disconnected. So hopefully, it's now coming up. My internet connection is unstable. Let's see if
Well,
we can push
we'll
through.
crack on. We'll see what we
on,
can do, eh?
and hopefully this will carry on working. Yeah. So where were we? We were talking about Thasmin, weren't we?
Yes, we were.
So yeah, I'm interested to see what they do. There isn't that much time left for it. I mean, they've got 2 episodes. What they're
Yeah,
gonna
they do.
Yeah, we'll see. I guess see how they
I
handle
know.
it.
I guess I know a lot of people close off. A lot of people are predicting it's going to be sort of magic reveal. It'll get to maybe to in her, horror. It, but we don't know. We don't know.
Yeah.
But like you say, they've not got a long time to figure it out.
Yeah, definitely. Let me just look in the chat, see if there's anything anybody's saying about this. Somebody's GSAM is asking about the Sea Devils. We'll get to that in the 2022 preview, I think.
Yeah.
Will Newland says Phasmin hurts me internally after that episode.
Internally?
I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that, Will.
Well, I'm sorry you're in pain.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Do you mean like that could mean any number of things? That could mean like you're
It
so
could-
happy
it
about
could
it
be
that
that.
it just hurts. I don't know.
Yeah.
He also says bring back David Banks as the cyber leader. Yeah,
I mean, I
yes.
do like a bit of David Banks, to be fair.
Yeah, he does Big Finish, doesn't he? I think.
On the odd occasion. I don't think he's done it too often. But
Okay.
yeah, once or twice.
Somebody draw with Cameron Smith in response to that comment says if they brought back David Banks as the cyber leader, that would be excellent.
Of course, excellent.
course.
The emotionless Cybermen who say excellent. Yeah.
Bring back Romana and the 4th Doctor on Doctor Who, says Joseph Adam. Well, getting them two to work together again might be a bit difficult.
I've just finished season 17, funnily enough, which obviously is the new box set. It's a funny old season 17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which one? What? Which stories are in? I never remember which stories are in which season.
That's all right. You've got like Destiny of the Daleks and City of Death, Creature from the Pit, Nightmare of Eden, Hordes of Nimon, and Shada.
Oh, of course.
As everyone has to say it.
Haven't got around to. I've got that box set upstairs. I haven't got around to watching it yet, though. But
yeah,
well, eventually.
It's a season that is clearly just having like a lot.
Yeah.
I do like it when the Daleks hit their target sometimes. But I can't remember. Was it in the Moffat era where they just always had like they hardly killed anyone? I can't remember. That might not have been
No, I think you're right. I think they barely.
That
killed
used to be a
anybody
running
in the
comment,
Moffat
wasn't
era.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they're just there as like fodder. I mean, it's not a question of Moffat didn't understand the Daleks. I just think a lot of the times in that era, the Daleks were there literally just as fodder or just to shout exterminate and do nothing else, which I think is a shame. I like how Chibnall, and in this one as well, gave them actual dialogue to say as well. So,
yeah.
but again,
talking of dialogue, I completely missed when I first watched it and therefore didn't mention it in my review. But the "I am not Nick" line.
Oh yes,
which I only realised when somebody pointed it out to me on Twitter that the meta nature of that, because of course Nick Briggs voices the Daleks.
Yeah, we see you, Nick. We see
very
you.
clever like that.
Very good.
Talking of Big Finish, Tom Mason says Big Finish ? I don't know what he's referring to, but Big Finish. Yeah, we like
they're
Big
just
Finish.
great, aren't they?
They are
yeah.
yeah. And he also says Jeff should have been in the episode. And somebody else says, imagine if the Jeff referenced in this episode was the Jeff from the 11th Hour.
Oh, yeah, the one on the
on the laptop.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been a weird cameo.
I wouldn't put it past
cameo
Jim,
at the end.
though.
What's his name?
Oh, yeah, I didn't clock that
Is it?
until I saw it mentioned on Twitter either.
I haven't seen The Woman Who Fell to Earth in quite a while. So, yeah, that like, I just found it funny that we had this little scene of what. But no. Good old Carl.
Yeah. And the final comment that's showing up on my thing is Rob Thurgood says, I can hear you both once more. That's good. I do apologize for the unstable internet connection today, and if this is not the most stable viewing experience for you, what I really need to do is stop relying on my Wi-Fi and get a really long Ethernet cable. My router is like I don't know, about 3 meters that way. I need a 3 meter cable so
Big
I can
old.
connect up and hopefully have a more streamlined streaming experience. But we'll see. Blair Who says hello as well. So hello
Hello.
everyone in the chat. Yeah. So we've. I enjoyed the special. It wasn't my favorite of the Dark Chibnall Dalek ones. I'd say my favorite is still Resolution.
Okay.
Personally.
Yeah. No, I do need to rewatch Resolution because I don't think I've actually seen it since 2019. So
Yeah, I especially loved what they did when the Dalek was didn't have a casing, and that was really good stuff
oh
when it was
yeah.
latched onto the back of that character. So
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, Charlie Thomas says, "Do you think we'll find out who the 14th Doctor is before the spring special?" I think if they start
Um
filming, they might have to reveal it. So
yeah, I think it's that thing, isn't it? They can't actually film it without, because then people are going to go down and then you'll see 140 feet 144 pictures online, and then it'll I think maybe over the next 1 or 2 months, as you say, I think it'll
yeah,
have to.
yeah, I think so. Maybe just before. No, it might over. If they do it too close to the next special, it might overshadow that a bit. So maybe,
Maybe February,
yeah, maybe
potentially, or March. We'll
could
see.
be,
Yeah.
could be. Um, okay then. Well, unless you got anything else to say about either the Daleks,
No,
should we
no, I
move on
think
to
I've
our?
covered the main points. But go and check out mine and reviews if you want, I guess, more like.
Yeah, indeed. Next, we're going to talk about 2022 and all the pop culture that we've got coming up that we're looking forward to. Let us know in the chat what movies, TV shows, other than Doctor Who. We all know we're all looking forward to Doctor Who. What else you got that's coming up this year that you know about? Could be books, could be live theatre, could be music. Anything that you know that is coming out this year that you think I am really looking forward to that. So let us know in the comments below. I'm going to kick off with we've had a super chat come in. Thank you, Malcolm Hope,
Oh, very
899.
kind.
Any theories on why Carl popped up at the end? Could it be the signal, the return of Simshar? God forbid.
Oh,
Chibbers does like to end where things started.
he
You say
does.
God forbid, but actually, I wouldn't mind seeing Tim Shaw again.
Yeah.
At least once, I think would be good to kind
Uh,
of round that off. Yes, the Battle of Ranskorav Kolos was not a great episode, but the
I
Woman Who Fell
just,
to Earth I
yeah.
really like. So
Yeah, me too.
another
Yeah,
episode to redeem him, I would be up for that.
I just think, yeah, I mean, if they did do that, that'd be nice. I just think after Ranskorav Kolos, like they had there was a good idea, like a character, do it that much.
Yeah, I kind
Like,
of
okay, well, yeah,
felt that they were in series 11. It felt like Chibnall was setting up that race as the big race of his era that would be returning, and then maybe when
yeah,
it didn't get the critical reception, especially at the end for Battle of Ranskorav Kolos, that he then sort of changed tack a bit, possibly because they had, not only was he in the first and last episode, but the second episode, that planet, that Dissolution they were on, was meant to be a Stenza outpost. So it kind of felt like
yes,
they were going to come back to it again, and then they just never did. So it kind of feels
yeah.
like this just loose
I
thing that
mean,
they're never going to tie up.
I can't wait until like 10, 15 years when Chibnall is either, well, hopefully will come forward and like proper talk in depth
Yeah.
about, because there's all these, sadly, it seems this era more than ever, there's like all these rumors about like, higher ups at the BBC getting involved, like, demanding certain things in the show, or do you know what I mean? There's been loads these past few years. And I obviously he's probably not going to do it whilst he's still showrunner. But I wouldn't be surprised if in the years to come he sort of does a big, tell all, here's how it was sort of thing.
Yeah, that would be really good. Maybe depends if they ever do, because we're on the collection box sets now, that because they were made so long ago, they're quite frank and honest in the interviews on those.
Oh
I
God,
wonder
yeah.
if when they eventually, if they do get around to releasing them for the modern series, if enough time will have passed for the same frankness and honestness to come out in
Yeah.
those as well. It'll be interesting to see.
You'd like to think so, because again, like when the people who worked on the classic show sort of deride it, if you like, you can tell they're not meaning it in like a hateful way. They're just being honest about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd like to think that would extend into the modern show as well, whenever they do get around to doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so I asked earlier on Twitter about what people were looking forward to, and got a few replies this year. So before we go on to sort of our own lists, I was going to have a quick look at those if I can find my original post again. Where'd it go?
No, go for it.
Where'd it go? Where'd you go? So there's a few things people are looking forward to. Jack Alexander said very excited for both Doctor Who specials, obviously, and also the Multiverse of Madness. That's Doctor Strange in the MCU. I'm not going to do any spoilers here, but if you haven't seen Spider-Man, go see it. It's amazing.
You probably go
see that. Yeah. I took ages to go see it, and unfortunately I did get spoiled a bit before going to see it. The only way I couldn't have been would be just to literally stay off Twitter for 2 weeks, but I wasn't going to do that. So there we go. Dan Peters is really looking forward to Stranger Things season 4. I don't know when that's coming out actually, but I am also looking forward to that whenever it does. Do you watch Stranger Things?
I'm so behind. Like, I watched season 1, but not even when it came out. I was about 2 years too, and then I'm meant to start. So I've got a rough idea of like the world and what it's all about, but I just haven't caught up. The thing in particular of original shows that out was that period of time, do you remember, from like 2014 to 17, 18, where it was perceived, because they had in the early days like a strip of hit shows, that
House of Cards, Orange is the New Black,
Sense8 when that was on.
And
I think it was assumed every new Netflix original that came out, people, this is going to be, and a lot of them, not, it's like anything, you put so much in, they're not all going to be like 10 winners. But anytime I go on there now, there's literally so much. It's like and people recommend, like, they recommend Stranger Things, they recommend You, they recommend Sex Education, they recommend, all these shows. And in my head, I'm going, right, I'll make a note of that. But as you know, there is not enough time in the day to get through all of this stuff.
Yeah, there's so many shows that are on my to watch list. I will never get around to them all, but
no.
But there is
but the intentions there
is another one that everyone keeps telling me to watch. Yeah, definitely. We do have a live theatre one on Twitter as well. There is the production, Rob Thurgood, who is in the chat as well, on Twitter, said Made in Dagenham, the production that he is in a local amateur production, which I was going to be in too ages ago. Yeah, I was cast in it, and then about 2 weeks into rehearsals, I found out the due date of our baby, who is now coming up to his second birthday in March. And basically the due date clashed with show week, so I had to drop out. But then it got cancelled anyway because of COVID. And now this is a production of Made in Dagenham, and they are now actually going to perform it. But obviously my role got recast ages ago, so I can't just pop up and go, can I have my role back, please?
Oh, it's a fun old show, Made in Dagenham.
It is. It's got some great songs in it. So if you're down in Sussex way, I don't know when they are actually going to be doing it again, but hopefully at some point this year, according to Rob. So
best of
look out for that
whenever that happens. Break a leg.
Yeah. John at Ice Tombs of Telos says Star Trek Picard season 2. Yes, very much looking for. I know you're not a Star Trek watcher, Adam, but
off the bat, that's not because I dislike it. I just haven't gotten around.
Yeah, there's just so little time. It's very difficult to watch everything these days.
My only experience of Star Trek, and some people might hiss at me for this, it is the modern movies. I saw the 2009, the first of those. My dad's sort of a Star Trek fan. I think he only watched the original and a bit of Next Gen. But obviously he wanted, his enthusiasm for things like Doctor Who and Star Wars. He got me into those. So I guess he thought, I'll do the same with this. But I don't know, maybe I was 13 at the time. And I don't know, mate, it just didn't really grab me. Like I knew what Star Trek was, but
Yeah.
yeah, maybe I was just the wrong age. I don't know. Into Darkness I found a lot more interesting, but I
Yeah.
never saw
Very interesting.
Beyond, and
Okay.
yeah. But
Yeah,
that's
Into
because
Darkness
some
tends
people
to be the one that gets most derided, I think.
see. That's interesting because obviously, having not seen the shows, it to
Yeah.
me seemed like a good movie, and I know they sort of they took inspiration. Is it from Star Trek 2, the whole Khan
Yeah.
stuff? Because I have a rough knowledge of because the meme, isn't it? Like, is it "I am Khan" where he like screams it, or
Oh, that
oh
yeah.
no,
Well,
someone screams
Kirk
Khan or
goes.
something.
Kirk screams Khan. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and so
Yeah.
I'm aware of Star Trek. I respect you all, but I do need to find an optimum point to begin.
Yeah, well, we do have Star Trek Picard season 2 this year. We also have the brand new show that's starting, Strange New Worlds, which is got Captain Pike in it, who was commanding the Enterprise before Captain Kirk. So it's kind of a prequel to the original series, but also kind of a spin-off from Discovery because Pike appeared on that for a bit. It's going to have the
Okay.
Spock that was in Discovery as well, played by Ethan. Oh, what's his name? Ethan Peck.
Okay.
So that might be an interesting one to start with if you
Oh
fancy it
wow.
when it does start, because I think it's going to be
Yeah.
very much more where as a lot of modern Star Trek shows are very serialized. I think they're going with a more story of the week vibe with this one, or at least
So they're
that's the
really going
impression I've
hell
got.
for leather. But
Yeah.
Star Trek's not.
Oh yeah, there's loads
The
of
sounds of
series at the
it.
moment, and then because the Lower Decks
Bloody
season
hell.
3 as well, which I don't know if that's going to be this year or next year, but yeah, Star Trek all over the place.
Hmm.
Council of Geeks said Across the Spider Verse in reply on
Oh
Twitter.
yes. Is that this year?
That is this year. Yeah, that's when is that? That is, I had that written
It's
down.
hard to believe it'll be. This will be the 4th year since the first Spider-Verse film. It doesn't feel
I
like that
know.
long ago at all.
October. That's out in October the 7th. And it's
Bloody
Across
hell.
the Spider Verse Part 1. So they're splitting it up into 2 movies as
Uh,
well, this story. So that's also interesting.
I wonder if they'll cross over into any live action.
Maybe.
That'd be
I don't know how you'd cross
interesting.
over the cartoon into the live action, but
Oh, they'll find a way. Give
yeah,
him
it's
give
gonna be
him give him a chance.
it'd get very like Who Framed Roger Rabbit esque.
Yeah, which isn't a bad thing if that's what they're
No,
modeling it off. That's not a
I
bad thing
love
at
Who
all.
Framed Roger Rabbit. I used to watch that all
Good
the time
film.
when I was a kid. Um,
Did you ever watch Kim Bullwinkle?
no, I didn't. I never saw that one.
A le- a as funny as Rabbit type. Bullwinkle were cartoons like back in the
Yeah.
50s and 60s, but they tried, I think it was around 2000, they tried to do a Roger Rabbit on them, like, bring him into the modern age. And it didn't really take off. But Robert De Niro's the villain, and he actually like produced, I think, to
Okay.
get it because it was a big thing of his childhood.
Yeah.
And but it's very meta. Like, there's a lot of joke, like fourth wall breaks and self-aware. And I think as an adult, it's really funny. Like there's even a line referencing Roger Rabbit. They talk about what is it? I think Robert De Niro, the leader, is called Fearless Leader. Very stereotypical, like German-esque, Nazi dressing like villain.
Hmm.
And he says there has never been a way to eliminate a cartoon character in the real world until now, or something like that. And one of his scientists chips in and goes, "But what, Roger Rabbit?" And he snaps back with, "Silence! That is totally different." And then they just carry on. So like it's wonderful meta humor. So yeah,
Nice.
anyone who The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle, highly recommend it if you can. I don't know if it's on a streaming site, but if you can find it, I definitely recommend giving it a watch.
Yeah, if that came out in the early 2000s, then I was probably like the wrong age to want to watch it because, latter teenage
Well, no, that's the
years. So I was
thing.
probably being.
I'd say it's the perfect age though, because I saw
Yeah.
it when I was about 7 or 8, and it was entertaining, but I didn't really get it because a lot of the
Yeah.
jokes, I'd argue, are aimed for more teenage adults, and I appreciate it now more. So I would have argued I get what you
Well,
mean though, because
yeah,
if they
I
trailed
think
it, with
yeah,
mainly like the
potentially how they
cartoons, then
advertised it might
yeah,
have put me off. Like if I hadn't realized what kind of film it was going to be, because I saw it and thought it was a kids film, and when you're that
absolutely, yeah,
age, you kind of think, oh, I'm not going to watch a kids film.
sure,
Whereas now I watch loads of kids films, not just because I have kids. I
yeah,
watch kids films when there's no kids around. I love a kids film. Great.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Um, has anybody got any suggestions in the chat? Jeremy Duncan says, I know it has just come out, but I can't wait until we get around to see the new West Side Story. Yeah, that does look
Ah.
really good. I've never seen the original West Side Story. I know some of the songs from it, but I've never actually seen it. But the new one does look
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I've seen the. I think I had to watch it at school. It's 1961, I think, the original Best
Mm,
Picture winner. Yeah, I've heard mixed things about people who I know who love musicals. Really think it's great.
which I do.
Some.
So
Oh well, that's you'll probably like. The movie musical doesn't seem to be doing too well recently in terms
yeah,
of like
yeah,
commercial success.
yeah. Because didn't
I mean,
In the Heights didn't do very well, did it?
I haven't seen the film yet, but the actual musical music is really good, and yeah, so that's a shame. And obviously, I think which I did go and see. I only saw it right because a friend said, "Oh, it'd be a laugh," and I was like, "Yeah, do you know what? The laugh." And people in cinema, right?
Yeah,
They're only five,
right.
so I don't
See,
know what that
I
tells.
saw
You.
Cats in the West End years ago when
Hmm.
I was a teenager, and it's probably the one musical I've come out of going, I really didn't enjoy that.
It
So
does seem to be very Marmite musical. A lot of
yeah,
people I talk to either love it or they can't stand it. So
yeah. So I was never gonna even try the film, I don't think, because I just didn't like the stage musical. So um, yeah, it's a shame because I really love. There's been a few musicals, like you say, that haven't done well that I think look really good. Like In the Heights looks really good, and a few other ones. I can't think of them off the top of my head now, but I know there's been about three or so that haven't done very well. Hope that does.
yeah,
There's more coming out, so I hope that does change. But partly that might just be the world situation at the moment. Not people
of
are avoiding
course.
cinemas.
How soon we forget? Yeah.
Yeah, unless you've got something big like massive blockbuster like Spider that people don't want spoilers for, like Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yes.
It's hard to get people into the cinemas, unfortunately, at the moment.
It is.
Charlie
Yeah.
Thomas
Very
says,
good.
"Have you watched Peaky Blinders? Because I think that's got its final season this year, hasn't it? I have not. Well, I've seen about three of the first episodes, and then for some reason, despite really enjoying them, just time got away from me, and I never ended up watching the rest.
Yeah.
Do you watch it?
No, again, it's one of those. It's that thing. I've been
Yeah.
recommended it. I'll add it to the list, but I don't know when I'm gonna see it. But I've heard, yeah, it's just very, very good.
Yeah, and obviously since it started coming out, Cillian Murphy, that's his name, isn't it? The sort of
Yes. Yeah.
star of
Yeah.
that has
Yeah.
become
Yeah.
quite big. So I'm guessing that's partly one of the reasons why it's ending this year. I'm imagining his
I
feet
guess
has
it's like
gone
maybe
up.
the Sherlock thing as well, like with how busy
Yeah,
Benedict Cumberbatch got over the years. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Blair who says time has gone quickly since 2018. It certainly has. Valerie Val is in the
Mm.
chat. Says hello
Hey,
everybody.
hey, hey.
Hey hey. I don't know. I don't know if this is spam or code for something. But somebody with a Greek username, I assume it's Greek, says VUR.FYI. I don't know what that means. Is that
Yeah,
code
I
for
think
something?
I wouldn't click. I wouldn't click that if I were you. That's
It's not
definitely
a link.
spam.
It's not a link. But
Oh.
FYI is for your information. I was wondering if they were trying to
I
tell us
swear
something.
I've seen those in my. I swear I've seen those in my spam section before. So
Yeah, probably,
yeah,
probably.
alert.
Well, let's start going through month by month then of things that are coming up in
Hmm,
2022 and things that I'm
sure.
excited for. Starting with next week, there's season 2. This is in America. I don't know when it will be in the UK of
Yeah.
Superman and Lois, which
Oh,
is
okay.
a very, very good superhero show, which is part of the Arrowverse, with the connected universe that has TV shows like Arrow, The Flash, Supergirl. I'm trying to think as well. Black Lightning. There's lots of superhero shows that all take place in the same universe, fictional universe, and Superman and Lois is kind of the latest one of those. Its entire first season is now on BBC iPlayer because BBC picked it up to watch for the first season. So you can now, if you're in the UK, go and watch the entire first season now, and I would definitely recommend it because it is the best Arrowverse show since those early seasons of Arrow, which were really good too. So I mean, if you're a Superman fan, go watch it. If you're it's one of the best interpretations of Superman I think I've seen since Christopher Reeve, basically, since Christopher Reeve. I would go so far as to say that it's the best Superman interpretations live action since Christopher Reeve. It's just so good.
I've never been much into the DC like TV stuff. I mean, I'm definitely more of a Marvel boy just because that's what I grew up with. I only ever really but I haven't really watched much, I'm afraid, including the TV series. So I mean, would you recommend Superman and Lois? Can I just pick that up and go?
You can, because although it's part of the Arrowverse, so technically, I mean, it takes place in the same universe. And in fact, this Superman did first appear on Supergirl a few years ago. This version of it, played by this actor. It doesn't really have much connection in terms of the episodes itself to that.
Right.
Like, there's one episode where one character from the rest of the Arrowverse shows up, and the rest of the time it's almost slightly weird that they don't mention the rest of the Arrowverse, especially with the plot line that goes on. I won't spoil anything in the first season. Towards the end, you'd think that Supergirl would be mentioned, but she isn't at all, ever. So it's really weird.
Conspicuously absent.
Yeah, it's very strange. But then they have that episode where another character that's nothing to do with Supergirl turns up from another show, from Arrow, in fact. He turns up. So it's definitely still in the same universe, but it's weird that they never mentioned Supergirl.
I don't know how you keep track of this, Phil, but I'm glad that you do.
But what that does mean is that it is very accessible to anybody that has not seen any other Arrowverse show. So you could, and that's probably why they don't mention Supergirl and all those other people, because they wanted to make this very much its own thing and accessible to everyone, and it really is. The basic plot is Superman and, well, Clark Kent and Lois Lane are married. They've got 2 kids who are teenagers.
Yeah.
They decide to move back to Kansas, back to Smallville, and take over his mum's farm when his mum dies. And then we go from there, and you know, it's basically in the first episode we find out one of the boys has powers, and the other one doesn't, and it's kind of just dealing with that. There's a lot of great character drama in there as well, but there's also some really good action. It's just a really good interpretation of Superman. So the new season of that starts, season 2, in America on the 11th, but you can watch the whole of the first season now in the UK on BBC iPlayer.
That's in.
So there's
I'll have to get my ever-increasing watch list, I think.
Yeah. What else is in January? Is there anything you're looking forward to in January?
In January, nothing immediate. I'm trying to think of like films as well. I think Morbius was meant to come out in January. Now
hasn't it just been pushed back again? Yeah.
Yes. God knows how many. But I remember when they announced it, because of course this is part of Sony Spider-Verse, not the MCU technically. And I remember when they first announced it, however many years ago, and I must admit I wasn't like, oh wow, that would be, I was like, oh okay. Because I only know Morbius from did you ever watch the 90s animated Spider-Man show?
I did, yeah.
Great show, by the way. Great theme song too. But I know Morbius from that because I do think he pops up in that. So I know the character a bit. But I saw I saw No Way Home for the second time recently, a few days ago. And they showed the trailer for Morbius. And I thought it looked pretty damn good, to be honest. It looked more like a horror film. But I'm kind of digging it. So I think I will actually go and see it now. But as you said, it was meant to come out this month, but is now April, I believe.
Yeah. It's not one that's massively intrigued me. I will probably catch it when it comes out on streaming rather than go and see it into the cinema. I'll probably watch it. I haven't yet watched Venom 2. I only recently watched Venom 1.
I haven't either yet to catch up on.
So I'm not massively invested in the whole Sony Spider-Man universe, but
whatever they're calling it, the SSU.
So was it Sony Universe of? Is
it just
Sony Spider-Man characters or Sony Universe of Marvel Spider-Man characters? Something really weird.
Just call it. They should just call it the Sonyverse. Call it the SSU and but whatever. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. It's not in the MCU. So if you think it's in the MCU, well, not yet. It isn't anyway. Give them
No.
time. But yeah, currently no, it's not part
No,
of the MCU.
it's definitely not part of the MCU. It's its own thing. It's its own thing.
Yeah.
We've also got talking of the Arrowverse as we were. There was a comment. I've lost it. Where'd it go? The stylish one in the chat said Superman and Lois is brilliant. It's like a spiritual successor to Smallville, which I love. I love Smallville 2 as well. Yeah, it is very good. And hi, Lucia the Whovian, an animal lover who didn't realize this was on, and sorry they're late. It's okay. Come and go as you please.
Don't you worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Yeah. So also in the Arrowverse, or maybe in the Arrowverse, I'm not entirely clear. There's a brand new TV show starting called Naomi, which is based on a DC comic.
Right.
And it is on the CW. So it might be in the Arrowverse, but I don't think they've confirmed if it is or not. It's a very vague situation. So I'll probably check it out anyway, I guess. I
saw a report today that... Sorry, go on.
No, carry on.
I just saw a report somewhere that... Is it Warner Brothers who owns the CW?
Yes. Oh, they're selling it, aren't they? They want to sell it.
Yeah, they claim it hasn't been profitable since 2006, which is mad that it's been allowed to continue for this long.
Yeah.
But yeah, so no, they're looking for a buyer. But...
They are indeed. I've just remembered I had a picture ready for Superman and Lois and I didn't bring it up, so there it is on the screen now. That's the Superman family, Superman, Lois, and his two kids.
I do know that picture. I'm not seeing it currently, but I think I've seen it in all the promotional material.
Yeah.
So yes, I do know that.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Nice that it got an airing on BBC One over here as well.
Yeah,
I know that surprised a lot of people.
And though they released, I think, all the episodes on iPlayer straight away, as they seem to be doing with a lot of stuff these days, they are airing it. They're trialing out Saturdays again to see if maybe that's a kind of a fun action adventure time slot that Doctor Who could move into again, back into. That would be interesting.
Yeah, I've kind of gotten used to Doctor Who on Sundays, though. I'm not going to lie to you.
It's fine. I actually, when it first moved to Sundays, I was really happy because I used to work. I used to have Sundays and Mondays off work, so it was really good because I'd still have Monday off work. I wouldn't have to get up the next day, so I could do my review and everything. But then I started working at Monday to Friday, and it was like, oh, now I've got to get up on the next day. So it wasn't as good. I don't think there's anything in February that I'm massively excited about. I haven't seen anything.
No, the only thing I might be excited for, but I don't know if it is a TBA date, but they usually do, is this might surprise some people, but I'm looking forward to season 2 of Power Rangers Dino Fury. I am indeed a Power Rangers fan. I wouldn't say I'm like hardcore, I don't follow the comics or anything like that, but I loved it as a kid. I really loved it as a kid, actually. I've always sort of stayed in and out with the various seasons as they've gone on. So yeah, this is season 2 of Dino Fury, which they had been all airing on Nickelodeon in the States, but recently, because a few get into the behind the scenes nerdy lore of everything, but the company that owned it, Saban Brands, who originally created it back in the 90s, they sold to Hasbro, the toy company. Yeah. And one of the agreements they've done recently is that I think the second half of season 1 of Dino Fury premiered on Netflix, and now they've confirmed that season 2 will all be on Netflix, exclusively. So that seems to be the new home, which in a way is great because it's more accessible. Because over here, I can't remember what they were showing it on. It was Channel 5 for a long time.
Oh, really? I know they had a lot of it on Netflix because I was considering rewatching Power Rangers from the start because I'm also I'm a lapsed, I'd say, Power Rangers fan. I watched it when I was a kid. From Mighty Morphin. I'm the right age
Mighty
to
Morphin days.
Mighty Morphin as it premiered in the UK. So I 93, 94.
What a special
time to be alive. And in fact, I have a video. Well, I've recorded footage for a video when I was back at my parents over Christmas. I went up the loft, and I've still got all my
Mm.
Mighty Morphin Power Ranger toys up there. So I did a
Oh,
little
no way.
collection video of all my Zords and stuff that I've still got up the
Hey,
loft
Phil,
from the
they'd be
Mighty
worth a
Morphin
lot of
days.
money now.
I don't
They'd
know
be
if they
worth a
would
lot
be
of
in the
money
state
now.
they're in, to be honest.
Oh,
I
were
did
they well
not.
played with?
They were well played with, very well played with when I was a kid. So they're not in the best, and they've been up a loft, not properly boxed.
Okay.
I think they may have had some mice peeing on them and
Oh,
all sorts of
no.
things. So basically, I don't think they're worth anything.
Right, that's fair
But
enough.
I'm not going to get rid of them anyway. I've now put them in proper boxes in like containers where they can't be got at anymore. And I
No,
filmed
of course.
a video, so at some point I will try and edit that together and get that out.
That's so
But
exciting. But yeah, I'd say I was lapsed for a bit as well. But the actual reason I got Netflix back in when was it? Back in 2013 was because of Power Rangers, because back then they had every single
yes,
season on Netflix, and I wanted to what I didn't get through all of them because even then there was like 20 seasons. But sadly, I looked recently, most of them are gone. I think all
yeah,
that's left is Dino Fury, of course, the seasons before that, Beast Morphers, which were the first Hasbro ones, they're on there. And but you'll be pleased to know all the original episodes of Mighty Morphin are still there. So
hey,
if you want to binge through Mighty Morphin, then that is
that's
there
cool.
for you.
My
But
original era was Mighty Morphin through to really sort of in space, slightly Lost Galaxy. So that was kind of my
yeah,
era. And then
that's
I
perfect though,
kind of
isn't
dipped
it?
back in when there was an anniversary episode. So
Yes,
I
yeah.
watched a bit of was it Megaforce recently?
Megaforce,
When
yeah,
they
that
did
was
that big anniversary season.
yeah, yeah. I'd say my era. Well, I think I first Power Rangers is a weird one where I can't remember where I first like got introduced to it. I have very vague memories of Time Force.
Oh
I think
yes.
I had a game for the PC for Time Force, and I have vague memories of Wild Force. But I think the first one I remember watching properly and loving was Ninja Storm, which I
Right.
think was about 2003. And so I watched that religiously. I also watched Dino Thunder religiously.
Dino
That was a
Thunder,
great
I
one.
got back into it with Dino Thunder because Tommy was in it. So I found out
Yeah,
Tommy
and
was in it,
do you
and
know
then I
what?
just watched the whole season.
And that was perfect for me because I just seen, because I think my parents was like, oh, he likes Power Rangers, we'll just get it. They found it in a bargain bin. You know, the second Power Rangers movie, the Turbo one,
Yeah.
the not as good one.
Yeah.
Well, they gave me that, but obviously Tommy's the Red Ranger in that, and I
Yeah.
just watched that, and then Dino Thunder came on, so I was like, oh, that's Tommy. So that was like perfect timing. But I watched that, and then I also watched SPD, which was like
Right.
set in the future. It was like they were a police force, but it was actually a really good season. So those were like my three where I was like really into.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't miss an episode. And then I don't know. The next one was Mystic Force, and I don't know if it was like the vibe of it or whatever. It was more like magic and stuff, but I don't. I just sort of trailed off there, and I maybe in that was where I'd like watch the odd episode if it was on, but I wasn't going out of my way anymore. And then, like you said, it was around like 2013 with the 20th anniversary that I started really getting back into the show. And I dive in when I can. So yeah, I'm looking forward to. I'm enjoying Dino Fury so far though. Season 1 was all right, and I mean, you know, I it's one of those things I don't watch. Like if you're new to Power Rangers, right? Please don't expect like an Oscar-winning drama because you are not gonna get
No.
it. You're gonna get
No.
a very cheesy, a very campy, a very like by the basics in a way. But there is some good, stories in there, lots of fun action. It's perfect stuff, I can have on in the background, like whilst I'm editing or doing some work, and it's,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's good fun.
Did you see the 2017 movie?
I did, and it was fine. Like, I didn't
Yeah.
think it was bad. But again, it's one of those things where, like, you could have done so much more with it. And I remember, do you remember a few years before that movie, there was a, like, 15-minute short that got quickly removed off
Yes.
you? Was it Power/Rangers?
Yes. That was
Yeah.
I loved that.
And it was like all apocalyptic, and it was
Yeah.
dark, and it was great. And I'm not saying like they should have made like a 15 or 18 rated Power Rangers movie, but I guess it showed that you could definitely tell a darker but yet still accessible to family friendly
Yeah.
story. And I remember they released the first like teaser images, and I was optimistic. I was like, it looks cool, but then the story was just a bit.
I really liked it. The only thing I didn't like about it were the Zords.
Yeah.
And particularly
yeah.
the Megazord when it all combined. But other than that, I actually really liked the story. I liked what they did with Rita, making her the Green Ranger.
Yes,
And
that was cool.
Yeah, and I like the costumes. I like what they did. Bryan Cranston as Zordon.
Zordon, yeah, I mean,
Brilliant.
yeah, absolutely brilliant. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think with Power Rangers though, for a film as well, they need to go in like one of the two directions. You either really lean into how, stupid the show is and the silliness of it, or you really try and tell a more like, a darker or more whatever you want to call it story. But
Yeah.
yeah, it just felt a bit aimless to 2017. It was fine, but I was like, I don't think I'd watch it again in a hurry.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
fair enough.
but there's rumors for, sorry, I will wrap up on this in a minute. But there are rumors that after Dino Fury, the current season, that Hasbro have apparently severed their, not in a bad way, they've to separate with the Toei company, who of course make Super Sentai, which for those
Yeah,
who
that they
don't know,
use footage from. Yeah.
yeah. So for those who don't know, a lot of the action scenes in Power Rangers is from a Japanese show called Super Sentai, and that's what they borrowed it from. But that's a story for another day. But apparently they've dropped that connection now, or they've severed that relationship. So people are like, oh, so does that mean Hasbro going to sink more money into making their original like Ranger teams and original, which is a really exciting prospect when you think about it, because then you're not limited by like the stock footage you've got. But there hasn't been any more confirmation of that, and they tend to try and crank out a new TV season a year. They might stop doing that, who knows? But I'd like there to be
Yeah, I
some
heard other rumors about them maybe doing like more of a connected universe thing with various different shows on at the same time almost. So you'd have like aimed at different audiences as well. So you'd have kind of a more kiddie one, but you'd have a more slightly older aimed one as well that they might be doing, and possibly even a cartoon.
Yeah, I just hope if they do go for that, I want them to like build it though and take it slow, because I think if
Yeah.
we've learned anything with like building these universes, DC Movieverse being a prime example, I think, is if you rush it, it just doesn't work. Or
Yeah.
whereas at least I know it's the golden example, but how many years was it to Endgame? Like 10, 11 years, but the payoff was so much because they'd taken the time to properly build it. I'm not saying it needs to be 10 years, but I worry if, in the span of say 2 years, they're like, right, here's 3 new Power Rangers TV shows. Oh, look,
Yeah.
here's a new movie. It's all just gonna be a bit messy. So if
Could
they
be.
do go for that, I'm all for it, because Power Rangers is a perfect franchise for that when you think about it. But
Yeah.
I just want them to really take their time with it.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with it. But but I don't know if it's us talking about Power Rangers, but for some reason, the viewers have halved since we started talking about Power Rangers.
Right, we'll move on.
We'll
then.
move
sorry,
on from
sorry.
you clearly are not Power Ranger fans in the audience. Don't worry. We'll go back to the chat briefly. Doctor Who's Magical Entertainment says, "Hey Philip, I already asked Adam this, possibly on one of your streams. What are your thoughts on a Doctor Who Red Dwarf crossover special, and which Doctors would you like to lead it?" Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. I think they are very different in terms of tones, shows, so it would be
certainly
a
are.
difficult one to navigate. But it could be fun. I mean, I'd say like do it in a comic or something. That could be the best. That like they did that Star Trek crossover in a comic. Just do that. Then we get the best of both. We get it to happen, but it's not too jarring. As for which Doctor would be best, even if they did do it live action. He says they say they've asked you this. What did you say?
What, for the cross? I think it was in a
Yeah.
Sunday catch up, that one. I think I said Sylvester McCoy might be quite fun.
Oh yeah, could be good.
I think that would be a really fun one to have in a Red Dwarf crossover. So yeah, that would be my go-to, I think.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, if he was still young, then Tom Baker would be quite fun, I think.
Absolutely.
Dealing with them and seeing how they react to him. Yeah, maybe Tom Baker, if we could have him from the 70s.
We could just reach back and grab him.
Yeah, absolutely. On the subject of Red Dwarf, Lucia, the Whovian and animal lover, asks Doctor Who's Magical Entertainment, what's Red Dwarf? Well, I've got a podcast you need to check out. Me and Adam present a podcast all about Red Dwarf, which is a British sitcom, space set sitcom, basically. It's been running since the 80s. It's still occasionally making new episodes. They made one last year. No, not last year now. 2 years ago, technically. 2020 was the last episode. And They it's just really funny, and we're watching it from the very beginning because it started in like 1987.
87, 88,
Yeah,
one of
something
the
like that.
two. Yeah.
And we've been going through watching it. Adam for the very first time, me from the I don't know, the sixth or seventh time through. I've been watching it since the 90s, and reviewing each episode. So if you want to find
Yeah.
it is still available to stream in the UK on Now TV, or you could just buy the DVDs and then you can listen to our podcast afterwards.
Absolutely.
Well, apparently we're buffering lots as well.
Oh
But
dear.
that's
That's not
probably my
good.
dodgy internet. Sorry, that might also be why we lost a load of
No,
viewers because
it could.
they got fed up of us buffering. Right. Okay. Well, we need to crack through this list because it's getting on.
Oh,
Okay.
yes,
So we
let's
got
go, let's go.
nothing in February. Maybe some Power Rangers. March. We've got
Maybe.
the Batman.
Oh
March
yes.
the 4th.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not. I kind of don't want them to keep rebooting characters. So, in a way, I'm not that interested, and I'll wait until it comes out
It's
streaming.
It's like the amount of time between films, isn't it? Because Dark Knight Rises was 2012, and then it was 2016 was Batman v Superman,
Yeah.
was it? So that's only 4 years. And I mean, even now, if you include the theatrical Justice League, which was 2017, I think. Between that and this new Batman, that's only 5 years.
Yeah, I kind of and also there's rumors that Ben Affleck might be showing up in The Flash as well. I think.
But that's it. It's not consistent. I mean, obviously, those who are like deep into it as fans aren't gonna mind. But if you really want to get the casual viewer in, having two, I don't know. I just don't think it's the right move. I think you've just got to stay consistent for a while.
Yeah, I mean it's a shame. I think it's a shame the Ben Affleck solo movie never really happened. I think that could have been interesting. While I'm not a massive fan of, I don't dislike it. I like some of the DCAU and some of it I'm not so keen on. While Justice League wasn't the greatest, I think they could have that they've gone on and done other good films since then that are still set in that universe, like Wonder Woman, like Aquaman. They were both brilliant films. So I think they could have done something, even if they shifted the tone of it a bit. It could have been good to keep it.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. The only line in the trailer I didn't like is when he says, "I am vengeance." I laughed out loud at that. I don't know. It's just a very silly line, I think. It's the Batman meme line, It's like when people mean, "Oh, I am justice," or "I am the knight," or whatever. It's just one of those, and I thought, that's made me laugh. So.
Yeah,
but no, I will see it.
There's another movie coming out in March that I am interested in seeing, and it's a bit of an odd curveball from the other ones on this list because obviously I'm quite a science fiction fantasy kind of guy mostly, but I am actually looking forward to Downton Abbey 2 in March, which for reasons that I do enjoy the series. I started watching it around the last series because my wife is into it. And actually, it's a good series. I enjoy it. And then I watched the first movie. That was really good. But there's a particular reason I'm really interested in watching this one. It's because they filmed in a location in my hometown. Not the town I live in now, but where I grew up. And I think I've got a picture here somewhere. Let me get the Superman Lois one off. I grew up in a town called Harwich. Well, I grew up in Dovercourt, really, which is kind of an adjoining town. But Harwich and Dovercourt are basically the same town. And there is a really old cinema there called the Electric Palace. And this is it. I'm bringing it up on the screen now. The Electric Palace cinema is the oldest, or claims to be the oldest, got to get the wording right here, purpose-built cinema that is still in operation as a cinema. I.e., it wasn't a previous building that got converted into a cinema. It was built as a cinema. And it's the oldest one of those that is still in operation as a cinema, I think.
Wow.
And they're using it as a filming location, so I'm quite excited to see that because I saw so many films as a kid growing up in that cinema. It's a little one-screen cinema that doesn't even have a proper foyer.
That looks great.
You literally just walk through the doors and you're in the screen. So it's tiny little place.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it for that. But Downton Abbey, it's good stuff. It's good, BBC period drama. They know what they're doing with that sort of stuff.
I would comment, but I have never seen a single episode of Downton Abbey in my life. So
I say BBC actually, isn't it ITV? Might be ITV, not BBC.
I think it's ITV.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Um oh, what about a few Doctor Who Back to the Future crossover special, says Doctor Who's Magical Entertainment. Maybe. I'm going to see Back to the Future the musical in a few weeks' time in London. That'll be exciting.
You. I was meant to see it in May of 2020, but you know,
cancelled.
Unluckily.
Did you get your tickets for a different date though?
No, I think they were cancelled because I was in Manchester where it was going to be based for like a few months before it toured. And they, instead of rescheduling, they just cancelled it outright, unfortunately. So.
Oh, no.
Oh, well, I'll see it at some point. I've got a badge somewhere behind me on this here pinboard that's back to from that, because it was a gift from my girlfriend for Christmas before the pandemic. So
yeah,
it's hiding behind there. I don't know if you can see that circular one. It says Manchester's first time traveller, world premiere. World premiere. So,
Didn't
never
happen.
mind.
Oh,
never mind.
Never mind. We've also got Sonic 2. Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Very excited for Sonic 2. The first one surprised me so much, you know. I've got to admit. I thought it's definitely the best video game movie I've seen, without a doubt. Absolutely.
I would still I mean, it's almost neck and neck, but I think I would just put Detective Pikachu above it. Just.
In all fairness, I haven't seen Detective Pikachu.
Okay.
So I should have rephrased that. Out of the video game movies I've seen, this is definitely the best one. I like the fact, you know, it didn't take itself too seriously, but there were a lot of sweet moments in it as well. And yeah, it was just a rip-roaring good time. So I'm looking forward to this sequel. Obviously, from the trailer, we've got Tails and Knuckles as well, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to hopefully just more fun with it, really.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks really good, and it looks like it's loosely adapting the storyline to the Mega Drive classic Sonic 3 game. So with Knuckles working with Dr. Robotnik, having been tricked by him, the Chaos Emeralds being a big thing. Really looking forward to this.
When are we going to get Sonic Underground adapted to live action? I loved Sonic Underground, unironically. So
I was more of the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon.
That was just crazy though. That was like they were sniffing some serious substances, I think, when they made that.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. But I used to also collect Sonic the Comic, which is a UK comic that was out in the 90s. And I've still, again, when I was at my parents' loft, I found all of those as well. So I've still got all of them. So I was a big Sonic fan in the 90s. I had a Master System and a Mega Drive with all the Sonic games on. And yeah, good times. I think Sonic was like, now Doctor Who is my main fandom, I suppose. The thing if I said, if you're a fan of one particular TV show, what would people say you're a fan of? Like if you asked anybody else, they'd say Phil's a fan of Doctor Who. But in the 90s, it was, at one point it was Sonic, and at the other point it was Power Rangers. They were my two main things.
They were the go-tos. Yeah. And what great two go-tos to have.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm very much looking forward to this film and seeing what they do with it. I hope we get to spend some time on Sonic's World, Morbius or whatever it's called. Okay, then we've got around about Easter. We don't have an exact date. The Doctor Who special, the next one, with, of course, the boys, the Sea Devils.
Yes.
The Sea Devils. What did you think of the design?
I loved it. I'm so glad, like, in the face, they've kept the face pretty much.
Oh,
still with me?
Yes. Hello. I can hear you.
Well, that's good.
Every time I say I can hear you, then start speaking and then it stops again. But carry on.
No, I think the face is great, like how they've kept it the same, but just obviously amplified the prosthetics or the effects.
Yeah.
But then how the costume is different to be more stylized. I really like it. I think it's a great update.
Yeah, I think I love the way they've kept I mean, it looks like it's the same monster. It doesn't look like it's
Yeah.
like when they updated the Silurians and they were like they had completely different facial structure. This looks like the same creature, which is really nice. I share a concern that I did have for the Sontarans before Flux, which was that I'm not sure from what we've seen, and not seen very much, what the facial movement's going to be like, and whether or not that, because at the moment it does look a bit like, because we haven't seen it move much in a still image, it looks like, okay, somebody's put a mask on, you know, a whole
Sure.
so. But I had that concern with the Sontarans before Flux as well, and then they completely looked great when they were moving in the episode. So I'm hoping the same will happen here, that the effects on it, they'll add some CG or whatever, or it just moves. So there's some animatronics in there that make it move really well, and it'll look really good in the final episode.
For sure. No, fingers crossed, eh?
Yeah, and I'm loving what the whole setting of this episode looks like. Chinese pirates, you know, sea.
Yeah. I'm ready to learn some more history.
Yes.
Always ready to learn history.
It's one of the things I do really like about the Chibnall era is the historicals are my highlight of the era, I think. They go into some really interesting places, stuff that I didn't know about before. I get to find out interesting stories about different parts of the world that Doctor Who doesn't always go to. And yeah, it's just been the highlight of the Chibnall era has been the historicals. I think.
Meeting that educational thing. We're learning something as we go.
Definitely. Doctor Who's Magical Entertainment is really on this crossover thing, and is now saying, imagine if they made a Doctor Who Sonic the Hedgehog crossover special.
Hey, I'd be down for that. And you know they can make it happen if they wanted.
Yeah, you could have like the Doctor have a fever dream, couldn't you? With a hedgehog just like starts.
Of course, it'd be a fever dream, wouldn't it? Yeah. Thank God. I'm here for it. Let's do it.
Talking of unexpected crossovers with Doctor Who, what's with that EVE Online thing? Have you seen that?
Oh yeah, I mean, very random, but also very. I mean, I've never played EVE in my life.
No, neither have I.
I'm familiar with the concept, but
yeah, that just kind of came out of nowhere.
Sure thing. Like
I don't play EVE Online, so I'm probably not going to experience it myself. But hey, hopefully, from what I gather from Twitter, the people that do play EVE Online, they've been saying that most of the EVE Online community have been going like, "What's Doctor Who?" but that's
Could you
fine.
Imagine me like, what is all this going on?
If it means some of them check out Doctor Who and go, "Hey, this is all right," great. And I can see why the BBC would want to do it for that reason. They'll probably get some vice versa. Some Doctor Who fans go, I suppose I'll check out EVE Online. So the crossover I want to happen with video games is Animal Crossing, because I have Animal Crossing on the Nintendo Switch, and I've been trying to create some Doctor Who themed elements on my island. I've created a kind of approximation of a console room in my house. And I've put some flags of Rassilon around the place, seal of Rassilon around the place and things like that. And I got a blue telephone box. But it'd be really cool to have some official items that are Doctor Who based in the game. Like to be able to actually have because the one thing in my console room that I've really struggled with is creating something that approximates a console. Nothing really works. Yeah. So I'd love like an official console that you could buy in.
Come on, Nintendo.
Yeah, just do an event, a crossover event. You know you want to. You want to. It'd be great. And if you can do it with EVE Online, I'm sure you can approach Nintendo as well and see if they'll be up for it.
It's only just the beginning.
Yeah. Right. So then we've got Doctor Strange in May.
Yes. Yeah.
That looks really good. We got a preview of that at the end of. It's going to be difficult to talk about that without spoiling, so we won't. We'll still avoid spoilers, but it looks good.
All it is, I hope it's a like cohesive. I read they had to do not too long ago, because of script reasons or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And you know not just super films. When you read that, you sort of think, oh god, like what's happening, blah blah blah. But it is being directed by Sam Raimi, so that gives me some. That gives.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I like his reason for doing it as well. I saw an interview with him, that says you haven't done a superhero film for 15 years. I think Spider-Man 3 was actually the last superhero film he did. So like, why have you done it now? And he says it was partly to challenge him. He said to challenge myself whether I can still do it. And I was
Yeah.
like, that's valid, man. Like, because a lot's changed in 15 years.
Yeah, definitely. Um, and I think he said in an interview as well that he also just really loves the character, and that it's actually like, as a comic book fan, it was one of his favorite characters growing up as well. So at least we know it's in the hands of somebody that really loves the character. So
Yeah, I just hope it keeps that panache of the first one, because the visuals on the first Doctor Strange were so impressive. I thought,
yeah,
like visually. I'm gonna actor on that was, because I can't actually. Scott Derrickson,
okay,
that name, but I thought he did a great job. So
yep.
yeah.
Yep. Going back to the chat, Lucia the Whovian and Animal Lover says, I should probably watch the Sonic films, as Sonic reminds me of when I was younger, as I kept playing a lot of Sonic games, like Sonic at the Olympic Games. Oh yeah, that was on the Wii, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Main fandoms now, Lucia's main fandoms are Doctor Who and Harry Potter. Did you watch?
Yes.
Did you watch the 20th anniversary? Has that happened yet? That 20th anniversary special?
Yeah, that's happened. I think. What was it on here? Was it on? Because if it was, I don't have Sky.
I think it might be Sky. Yeah, most HBO stuff seems to be on. It's HBO in America, isn't it? So I think
on HBO. Yeah, Harry Potter's one where like when the films were coming out, I was well into it because that's what I grew up on. I guess I'm sort of like a lapsed fan a bit, because the Fantastic Beasts films weren't really doing it for me that much, and I don't really go back to read the books. Yeah, the first one was decent, but then the second one wasn't really about Fantastic Beasts at all, and I'm not really too hyped for the third one. So no,
I have given. I think I saw the second one on a plane when it was on the in-flight entertainment, but I've no plans to go see the third one, and I've never read the books. I watched all of the films, sort of, and I only started really watching those like halfway through, and then sort of backed and watched the ones I'd missed. So I'm not like, I was never a hardcore fan of it or anything. I have seen the stage play, Cursed Child, which was, I have to say, fantastic stagecraft. The people that put that show together, it's a visual wonder. It is absolutely amazing, and does, like, you watch it and you go, wow, how do they achieve all these effects to make it look like magic is actually happening before your eyes? It's really impressive stuff visually. I think there's some criticisms of the story which are justified, but to be honest, I was so bowled over with the visuals at the time that I didn't really mind. But
hey, fair enough.
I'm not a massive Harry Potter fan though.
Different strokes for different folks, man. That's all right.
Indeed. God, what time is it? Usually I wrap this up about 9:30.
It's because you got me here. I like to go on and on and on. You've all learned something today, haven't you? So
what about the new Top Gun? Do you watched? Do you a fan of the original 80s Top Gun?
I only saw the original one about 4 years ago. I'm more familiar with the soundtrack, if anything. I grew up with that soundtrack.
Such an amazing soundtrack. I was listening to it the other day. I just asked my speaker to put it on because I was like, you know what? I haven't listened to it in ages. The Top Gun soundtrack. I need to listen to it. It's so good. Yeah.
But with the new one, what was it called again? Top Gun
Maverick.
Yeah, I'm just. It's like you said with something else we talked about earlier. I'm not going to probably rush to see it in the cinema, but if it becomes on like a streaming thing or whatever, I'll probably watch it then.
Yeah, I think I'm probably the same. To be honest, that's me with most movies at the moment. I'm being very selective with what I brave the cinema for at the moment.
Which, given the circumstances, I think is completely fair enough. So.
Yeah. So that will be one which I do catch on streaming, as will probably Jurassic World Domination. Is that what it's called? Which is out on June
I don't
10th.
have much feeling Jurassic Parks.
I loved the original one. I liked the first Jurassic World, and the second one was okay, I guess. I'll watch it when it comes out, I guess.
Eventually, whenever
Yeah,
it comes out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Also in June, Lightyear, the
Oh,
Pixar film
yes. Um,
or Disney film.
when they announced it, when they very first like that, I thought, oh, this is gonna. It meant they were gonna do like a live action film. When they very
Yeah,
first announced it, but obviously they come out and showed us the trailer, and it is an animation, which is cool. But I'm curious. I probably will see it, but I'm trying not to get any like extra hype or expectations because it could literally be about anything, pretty much.
yeah, yeah.
So
It
yeah,
could
are
be.
you excited
So,
for that one, or are you gonna skip
I'm.
it?
I will again. It will probably be one I will watch when it comes on to Disney Plus,
Hmm.
rather than go to the cinema to see it. But I am intrigued to see what they do with it. Uh, and if the take on the character is different, being played by a different actor, and it not being a toy. So
Yes, yeah.
what difference does that? I'm a little bit intrigued by it, but I'm not like biting at the thing to go see it like the first second it's out or anything. I'll wait and
Sure,
see it
yeah,
when it comes on Disney
yeah, yeah,
Plus. I
yeah.
think. Um, then we've got anything. What's next? July. Thor: Love and Thunder. I probably will go to the cinema for that one because I really loved the last Thor movie. And
Yeah,
director's name. What's his name? I can never pronounce it.
Taika Waititi.
Taika Waititi. Is that it? Is that it? Have I
Taika
pronounced?
Waititi, I
Taika
think.
Waititi. Yes. Um,
Yeah.
it's so funny.
See, I'd like to see it. I've got this weird thing at the minute with the MCU as a whole. I don't know whether I'm burnt out or because I know a lot of people say, when Endgame happened, that was obviously
Yeah.
the culmination of what's called the Infinity Saga. That felt like a very definite ending. Oh, yes, Far From Home is like the epilogue to it, if you like.
Yeah.
But ever since that, like summer of 2019, I've just not felt the same connection with the MCU anymore, which is weird. Like I've watched all the I haven't actually watched. This is what I mean. When WandaVision happened, I watched that straight away. But then everything else, I've sort of not been in a rush to. And then the only film, I mean, Shang-Chi, I went to see in the cinema, but I thought, okay, that was all right. I missed the Eternals completely.
Yeah, I still haven't seen
And
that.
I
I'm
only
I'm gonna watch it when it comes on Disney Plus in a couple of weeks' time, I think.
Yeah, but I only went to see Spider-Man because Spider-Man is my favorite hero, and it's like that. It's that nostalgia thing. But yeah, I mean, I'd like to. Basically, what I'm saying is, I'd like to be more excited for Thor: Love and Thunder than I actually am at the minute. If that makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah.
Maybe
I,
when they drop a trailer, that might change. I don't know, but
yeah.
yeah.
What did you think of Thor Ragnarok? Was it one of your?
Oh, I loved it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought that's what I thought the tone and style of it. That's what all three of the four films should have been. Really, like the first one's all right, but I think it takes itself a bit too seriously, and the second one's just a bit of fodder, really. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just wish they'd all been like that, basically.
Yeah, and I love the style of humor that they used there. So I think we'll be getting more of that, and of course Korg, the rock guy, voiced by Taika Waititi, is just brilliant.
Yeah,
And I hope we get more of him in this
we
as
all
well.
love Korg.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then we've got July 29th, Black Adam. I'm not that fussed by Black Adam, really. It's not
is
a
that
part
the
of
Shazam sequel?
yeah,
Or...
well, Shazam. It's not a Shazam sequence, like Shazam spin-off type side project because it is
Mm,
a black. It is a Shazam villain, but I don't think Shazam's in this.
See, I watched Shazam Reese not too long ago, and I did like it. I thought it was pretty fun, but like again, gonna same as you. I'm probably gonna
Yeah,
Black
I
Adam.
see. There's the DC expanded universe, whatever they call it these days. Films. I will watch them, but I'm not massively excited about them. uh, unless
Yeah,
I've really enjoyed the previous one. Like I really was looking forward to the second Wonder Woman movie because I really enjoyed the first one, and then unfortunately the second one disappointed a little bit. And I'm really looking forward to the next Aquaman movie because I really enjoyed the first one. But
yeah,
yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
for sure.
Oh, my voice is starting to go. And we're only up into July.
We best move.
We can skip to September though, because the next thing I've got on my list is Lord of the Rings TV show, unnamed Lord of the
Yeah,
Rings TV show.
I'm not really a Lord of the Rings guy.
Are you not?
So,
See,
no.
I like it. I've read the books and I enjoyed the film, but I was never like heavily into it. My wife,
Yeah.
however, is a massive Lord of the Rings fan, and in fact, when I met her, she had a map of Middle Earth on her sort of
Nice.
student dorm wall.
Nice.
So she's the bigger Lord of the Rings fan in the family. So we will be watching that, I'm sure. And
You'll be roped in.
it's a prequel to like it's set like hundreds of years or maybe even thousands of years before the Lord of the Rings is set. So it's not just retelling the same story. So from that aspect, it's interesting, I think. If he was just doing like the Lord of the Rings again but a TV show, I'd probably be less interested.
No, fair enough.
Mission Impossible 7 is 30th of September. I can't believe these films are still going.
Me too. I mean, I'm not really Mission Impossible into them.
I've enjoyed some of them. I'll probably watch it eventually. I don't know if I've seen the last one actually, so I'm clearly not keeping up with them. But I will watch them if they're on TV or something, or if I see them on streaming.
I stopped back at 3. So
yeah. In 6th of October, it's not something that's out, but it is the 60th anniversary of the first Bond movie. So that'll be. I'm interested to see how they celebrate that. If maybe that's when we'll get an announcement of who the next Bond is potentially.
Yeah, maybe. Part of me wants them to take even longer of a break, but I know they probably won't do that. Years of Bond in the cinema, it's crazy. That means this year Skyfall's 10 years old, which is crazy because I remember how much of a. I've got must mark 10 years since I got the Bond 50 DVD box set, where at the time it was, of course, it's hideous. I'll just have to wait for the next box set. That's the problem with long-running film franchises. They release a box set, and you go, "Oh yeah, I'll buy that." And then a few years later, they're like, "Oh, we're adding another film," and you're like, "Oh, okay, then thanks for that." So,
yeah. Then you just have to buy them individually after that.
Then you buy the next one. Yeah, that's how they get you, folks. That's how they get you.
So Doctor Who's Magical Entertainment says, are you excited that we're getting Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire and Amazing Spider-Man 3 with Andrew Garfield? I'm pretty sure that's just a fan rumor, that's not even fan rumor. That's just wishful thinking, I think. I definitely don't think that's been announced.
I don't think as much as I love Tobey Maguire, I don't think we even need a Spider-Man 4. Like, say what you want about Spider-Man 3, but I think they wrapped up what was going on there fairly nicely for me. With Andrew Garfield, if they ever give him an Amazing Spider-Man 3, I think that would be cool, because I do think his time was cut a little bit short. But at the same time, like you said, it is at this point, it still is absolutely wishful thinking. And I'm just like, hey, if they do, great. And if they don't, whatever.
Yeah, definitely. Already mentioned Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is October the 7th. Canceling Geeks.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah,
very excited.
The first one was really good. A nice surprise, actually, because I kind of went to see it not really knowing what to expect and really loving it. So, definitely looking forward to that. Everything seems to be the big thing at the moment is multiverses crossing over. Different universes. It's very big at the moment.
More universes, more characters, more merchandise, more money. That's what it all comes down to.
Because another one that's doing that is, of course, The Flash. November the 4th, The Flash movie is doing multiversal stuff as well. And we're getting Michael Keaton back as Batman from the 90s Batman movies.
I don't know how that's going to work, though, because he's
3 versions of Batman going to be running around.
He's like 70 now, isn't he? How are they doing that?
I don't know. I think he's in pretty good shape. He did all right as Vulture in Spider-Man, didn't he?
That he did. But do you think his Batman, it'll be like his Batman, but older?
I think so. Yeah. So like the Batman from that universe, but obviously aged up, and things have probably happened to him in the meantime. Yeah, I'm interested to see what they do with that, and if they use it to reset like the universe, how they might set the thing for what they're going to do with the
Yeah,
films
how they
going
go
forward.
across it.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that'd be quite interesting. November the 11th, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I'm intrigued what they're
Is
going
that
to
a
do there.
confirmed release date? Because I
I
swear they've
think
had
so.
production. Yeah. Okay, maybe. I swear I
Maybe.
read some of they had like production slowdown, something to do with some of the cast members not
Oh,
wanting to get
there was the thing.
vaccinated or
Yeah,
something
it's
like that.
Shuri, the sister, the
Is
T'Challa's
that
sister.
Letitia Wright? I
Yeah,
think.
who was in Doctor Who, wasn't she? She was in
Yeah,
an episode of Doctor Who. Yeah, she was
she
refusing to
was.
get
Yeah.
vaccinated, so they couldn't film with her,
Uh,
and they might be rewriting around it or recasting her. Maybe, I don't
again,
know.
but we'll see. You
People
have to have faith, I guess.
refusing to get vaccinated. That's happening with tennis at the moment as well, isn't it?
Ah, yes, with good old Novak.
Yeah,
So,
crazy.
yes.
I've skipped over a big one. We don't know an exact date, but approximately October, the Doctor Who BBC Centenary Special.
Yes, yeah. Whenever that, as you say, whenever that does come out, yeah. I wonder what the title will be called. That's what I want to know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's probably going to be have the Master in it. I think somebody asked a question in the chat about the
yeah.
Master earlier that I missed.
I just,
I'll see if I can find it. But yeah, no, carry on while I search
yeah.
the chat. What are you
I
hoping
just,
for out of it?
it would be nice to see. It would be nice to see the Master. And I think we might be seeing Unit as well.
Yeah,
But I just want it to be a rip-roaring good finale, a really good send-off for Jodie's Doctor. I don't want the episode to have the word time in the title because the amount of times that is, ironically, that is used by Time of the Doctor, Twice Upon a Time. Can we have a title that doesn't involve the word time?
yeah,
But yeah, we'll see. So, I just go in fresh-minded and I hopefully have as much fun as possible.
yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing how the era ends and what just what they're going to do. Yeah, a big special hopefully. Before another big special the following year potentially. So
Yes,
it's just
fingers
such a long
crossed.
gap after that before we get another episode.
Oh, we're used to long gaps with Doctor Who, aren't we?
Yeah, it's sad,
Yeah.
but never mind.
Mhm.
Creed 3. Do you watch the Creed movies? The boxing
I do.
Rocky
Yes, I
spin-off?
didn't even know they were. I didn't even know they were making a Creed 3.
Yeah,
So
it's
glad
out
to
on
hear
November
that's
the 23rd. I haven't seen Creed 2 yet. I've only seen Creed 1. Get around to Creed 2 yet. And I did a marathon before watching Creed 1 of all the Rocky movies. And
Yeah.
so I just got Creed 2 to catch up on. But yeah, I thought it was a really good continuous sort of spiritual successor to the Rocky movies. Obviously, it's got
Yeah.
Rocky in it still as a kind of the coach figure. And
Yes.
yeah, really good movies. So I'm
Yeah.
looking
No,
forward to.
Creed 2 was fun. There's a lot of like nostalgia, and throwbacks.
Yes, because doesn't
obviously.
he fight? He fights like the son of the Russian guy that Rocky.
Of Ivan Drago from
Yeah.
Rocky 4, yeah. So and Dolph Lundgren is in it, so it is
Yeah.
nice to see him and Sylvester see each other again. But no, I enjoyed it. See, I'll see Creed 3. As I said, I just didn't know they were genuinely making it because I think it's been like 3 or 4 years since Creed 2. So yeah, but no, I'll watch that. I'll go and see that.
Yeah. Aquaman, we've already briefly touched on that in December the 16th. Also December the 16th, the very long awaited Avatar 2.
Oh, is it finally come?
That's the currently
Is
scheduled
it?
date.
Is it?
Will there be? I mean, all of these
God.
films subject to delay. Obviously, I mean,
Do you
as
remember
we've
back
seen with
when-
Morbius, it just got delayed in the month it was meant to be released in. So,
God, Avatar 2. Do you remember like back a year after Avatar came out in like 2010, 2011, and James Cameron was like, oh yeah, Avatar 2 coming in like 2013, mate. And then it became 2014, and here we are, 10 years later. So
I do have to, the original Avatar
it'll finally come out.
was really impressive visually if you watched it in 3D. It
At
was
the
one
time.
of like
At the time.
and it really kick-started like the negative the bad trend of just turning stuff into 3D, because Avatar was made to be 3D. It was filmed with 3D in mind. But then
Yeah.
after that,
Didn't
they were
have
like,
technology
hey,
for that.
everyone loves 3D. Let's make everything 3D. So they did it all in post-production and turned 2D
Yeah.
films into 3D, which
And
just
it
didn't work. So,
The
Yeah.
thing is, though, it's been 13 years, and I just think when it comes out, who cares? Like, I mean, I'm sure it has its fans, but let's face it.
Yeah.
I know it's like one of the time, but a lot of people saw it because of all the hype that was put on it. Visually impressive film. It's the best three. Do you know what I mean? It was all that stuff
Yeah.
where
And they're not going to be
made
able to
more
recapture
casual
that
viewers.
again.
God, no. So I just think it's just not going to have that same impact. And I know he wants to do more sequels than that, doesn't he? He's talked about Avatar like 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, and that's been
think,
like since like 2013 or whatever. He's been talking about having like four sequels, and it's like, okay, come on, calm down, just stick one at a time.
I do love James Cameron. Like, I mean, Terminator 2 is a film of all time, and that, of course, is film. But I just think try something else. Just move on. It's not 2009 anymore. But, you know, I'm willing to be impressed. It might be a really good film. We'll see in December, you know, if it, touch wood, ever comes out.
Yeah. Then December the 21st, we were talking about video game movies earlier. Do you know what this one is?
December the 21st. No, go on.
Super Mario Brothers with Chris Pratt.
Oh, with Chris
as Mario.
You know what? They could have cast anyone else at all. But
look, I don't want to prejudge.
This is the animated one, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't want to prejudge, but it's a weird casting decision. Look, he may have like stormed a perfect audition and like done the perfect Mario, but I have my reservations.
I think people are just wondering how he's going to play it. Like, is he playing it as like an Italian, or is he playing it as like just an American? Do you know? No one knows how he's going to do it. But only one that I was somehow was Jack Black. I can see that in a heartbeat. But
Jack Black as Bowser would be good.
I might go and see it for a laugh. I tend to be working over Christmas usually, but if I can, I'll try and see it, because it'll probably be a good laugh, won't it?
Have you seen the 90s live action Super Mario Brothers movie?
I have, and you know what? For all the I wouldn't say it's a bad film. It's just not a Super Mario Brothers film.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, I watched that as a kid, and I absolutely loved it as a kid. It was one of my favorite movies when I was like, I think it came out in 93, so I would have I've been about 8, and I absolutely loved it. And then I didn't get where later on I heard that everybody hated it, but I do understand that it's literally not it's really not a Mario movie. It's got totally like it's this weird. For anybody who hasn't seen it, it's got Bob Hoskins as Mario, and it's this weird dystopian thriller thing. It's weird. It's very Blade Runner-esque, isn't it? In terms of its aesthetic, which is weird for a Mario movie.
It's just bizarre. It's a bizarre experiment in film history.
Yeah, but I do also love it. So, you know, I get why people don't, but I have a secret place in my heart for it. This, I'm sure, animated one will be very different.
Oh, yes.
You a Star Wars fan?
I am.
The Kenobi series doesn't have a date yet, but is out some point this year, apparently.
Got pushed. It meant to be last year, and then it got pushed back, I remember. Yeah. No, I am very excited for that, especially because Ewan McGregor's obviously going to be in it.
That'll be good.
For that.
That'll be good. And then the last two things I've got. One, we've already mentioned, Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which someone on Twitter also earlier when I asked, Earl Grey Trekkie had put that forward as one as well on Twitter. So we've already mentioned that. It's looking forward to that. And as a Trekkie myself, very much looking forward to that. And also the Game of Thrones spin-off, House of Dragons, is, again, doesn't have a date, but is out some point this year.
Is coming.
It's coming, which has Matt Smith in it.
It does. Just a shame I'm not a Game of Thrones fan. So
did you watch any of it?
First, but I just couldn't. I like the act and the world, but I just couldn't get drawn in. So
no, see, I really loved it, and I don't think the last season, while it was a lot weaker, I think I don't think it was as bad as some people make out. But I do.
You think it needed to be rewritten completely, like a lot of people online said it needed to be?
I understand the criticisms that people have of it, and I
Sure.
do feel some of them, but I I don't think it necessarily ruin like when they say, oh, it ruins the rest of
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I don't think it was that bad. It was kind of
Valid.
like, oh, that's for me. It was, oh, that's a little bit disappointing, rather than this is the worst thing ever type thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'll probably watch the new one and see what it's like. Especially as it's got Matt Smith in it. I want to see. I'm interested in seeing. I haven't really seen him in anything apart from The Crown since.
Yes, yeah. I've seen him in
I mean,
dribs and drabs here and
yeah, I
there,
know
but
he's been in stuff, but I just haven't seen any of it. So it'd be interesting to see what he's been doing since that. And that's kind of all I've got. Have you got anything else that you before we go that you were looking forward to this year?
nothing major. I think we've covered all the ones that I would have mentioned anyway. So unless there's like a surprise one that isn't coming to my mind at the moment, but yeah, some of the Marvel stuff, like we said, the Sonic 2, yeah, all the big ones are covered. I think for me.
Have you got any? Are there any now albums coming out that you're particularly looking forward to?
Oh, they won't stop. I don't know what it is. They're ramping up like the amount they release, which is a blessing and a curse. Curse my wallet. Of the ones we know about, there's 3 coming out in January already. There's one which is now that's what I call punk/new wave, which I'm quite excited about because I'm familiar. I like new wave music. I've never really been that
Okay.
much into punk, but I'm always willing to give new genres a second go or a try. So I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to
yeah.
that one. But one that comes out tomorrow, which I am excited for, is now that's what I call electronic. So I'm a big
Ooh.
fan of electronic music. I just hope the track list is a good selection. But
What kind of music is on that then? I'm just trying to like sometimes these terms of like what genres of
well,
music, I'm not
yeah,
entirely 100% sure what they mean.
I don't think it's not hardcore like stuff you've never heard of that only gets played in like clubs and stuff. It's
Right.
mainstream stuff. I think it's songs that have a lot of electronic instrumentation in them.
Yeah.
Like a mainstream, well, an obvious one I can remember from the track list they've put on is "Gimme Gimme Gimme" by ABBA, which if you think
Oh,
about it, does
okay.
have a lot of electronic. The
Right.
main riff of it is
Yeah,
very
yeah.
electronic. So that's the kind of vibe they're going for. So yeah, it'd be good to see the full track list when that arrives tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, cool. We've had a few more people just pop up into the chat.
Hello.
Rob Kernock says, "Evening, both. Evening, Rob, and
Hello.
excited for the Batman." We did discuss that earlier. I'm, yeah, I'm not excited for it. I will watch it when it comes on streaming. I think is what I said.
Yeah.
Um,
Excited but cautious is my
yeah.
opinion. Yeah.
And Jeremy Duncan has said Book of Boba Fett has been pretty great. Yes, I've been watching that and I've been enjoying it. Have you been watching it?
Watching what? Sorry, you cut out a little bit.
Sorry, Book of Boba Fett.
I haven't started it yet, no. But I've heard good things so far from mates who have watched it. So
Yeah, I like
I
the
will
fact that
get
it's kind
there.
of filling in some gaps in the narrative, and yeah, I like the modern sort of it's cut in between two time periods, and yeah, I'm liking it. Yeah, it's good. Rebecca A says hi, AMTV bestie.
Oh, I think I know who that is.
Is that Rebecca TV? I'm trying to tell
Hello, Best. It
from the
is, I
thing.
believe it is. Hello,
Hey,
Bestie.
Rebecca.
Hey.
And Doctor Who's Magical Entertainment says, "Have you both seen Last Night in Soho with Matt Smith as the villain?" No, I haven't.
I
Haven't seen
haven't,
that
but
yet.
I've heard that was Edgar Wright's film, I think, but I've heard
It,
very good things.
it's on my watch list. When we watch, I don't watch that many films. Maybe like at most one every 2 weeks or so. And me and my wife kind of alternate in who gets to pick the film. So
Yeah.
it is on my list to pick at some point. So I
Okay.
do need to watch it. I'd like Edgar Wright films. I want to. The trailer intrigued me, and it's obviously got Matt Smith in it, so I'm kind of intrigued. So yeah, I'm going to watch it at some point.
Hey, I'll have to get around to it.
Yeah. Well, look, we've been going now for. I don't know. My timer seems to have reset. It says only half an hour, but we've definitely been going for longer than half an
Nearly
hour. That
2 hours, I think.
might have been since it last buffered out and reset or
Yeah.
something. But I think it's time to wrap up because my voice is going. I think we both need some rest.
Yes, yeah.
And thank you everyone for watching that's still here.
Yeah,
and,
thanks for coming.
sticking with us to the end. Our 2022 preview of pop culture, and I'll be back next month on the first Thursday of the month for another pop culture live stream about something. I don't know what the topic will be yet, but I'll work it out near the
You'll
time.
find
Usually
one.
I work it out the day before, so
That's
So
good.
yeah.